Hello and welcome to another episode of What Do You Call It podcast. I'm your host, GB. Today's guest is the owner of Fight Factory Wrestling based in Lincolnshire, a tattoo artist, and a pro wrestling veteran. Please welcome Dutch. Dutch, how's your week been?
Busy. Yeah, really busy. Thanks.
Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Well, it's near the weekend, so I hope you've got a lot planned and I hope you've got a good weekend. But I want to talk about things that you've achieved in your career because I know you've been doing this for what,
Okay.
15, 20 years now. I want to talk about your school, your fitness, your tattooing, um, your wrestling family. So
Yeah.
your name might actually sound familiar to the listeners as you came up in a recent podcast. So I recorded it with Kaya at the beginning of the month. She revealed she was a second generation wrestler and that you were a father. I want to go back to a story uh, where she told me and the listeners how she came up with her theme song. So the song is no doubt just a girl, very catchy, very iconic song. But Dutch, tell me your side of the story.
It's pretty accurate, to be honest. Um, I was spending my time in the bathroom, and I think I was probably TikTok scrolling or
Yeah,
something. And the track's on Wonder Woman, if I remember right.
yeah,
And I remember when I was younger being a bit of a No Doubt fan as well. So I was like, oh, it works.
yeah,
That could be it. And there was a couple that were toyed around with, but it just seemed to really fit that sort of playfulness and showing that she is a very girly girl,
hmm
but at the same time she takes no shit.
yeah,
So
yeah. No,
yeah,
that's
that's that. She was pretty accurate.
Have you come up with any other theme songs in the toilet? Just
Loads of ideas, and people will get random messages from me. But normally, like when it comes to guys from the training school or whatever,
yeah,
I I try and encourage like a bit of free reign on creative stuff because I don't deal with the promotion, just the training school side of it. My wife deals with the promotion. My brother.
hello there. I've got a special announcement from my next guest.
Hi, I'm Steph DeLanda, and I'll be appearing on What Do You Call It podcast.
Yeah, I heard.
My wife runs the promotion, even though it's my name on the paperwork. That's just if something goes wrong, I go to jail, not her. So yeah, quite often guys will get a message. Well, maybe I'm in my office with a couple of ideas, but preferably it comes from them because the way I sort of think about it is you're going to look after your own kids more than someone else's. Although you'd look after someone else's kid,
Yeah.
chances are you'll put your own first. So that's the same with their ideas on creatives. So
Awesome, awesome. I will touch on your training, Kyle, where she's at now, and you being a proud dad. She was talking about like the family and growing up in wrestling and the industry itself. But Dutch, I want to rewind the clocks a little bit, and I want to discover what made you a wrestling fan in the first place.
so being at my grandparents in the 80s, a long time ago, and seeing it on TV on a black and white TV. And my grandmother still probably has a black and white TV to this day. So yeah, I just remember watching the World of Sport and just I don't know, it just captivated me.
Hmm.
Um, and then go forward maybe a year. I'm still very young, and my uncle was flicking through trying to find football, and there was WWF, and I think it was Ultimate Warrior. Um, just the colourful characters, the larger than life
Oh
sort
yeah,
of
the
stature of
guy was
them, and
nuts, but you couldn't take your eyes off him.
yeah, but
Promos
it
don't
was
make
all
any
of them
fucking
from
sense, but you would literally find yourself like just you just couldn't take your eyes off him. Honestly, you'd be like, "Oh my God, he's insane. I love it."
yeah. So again, going to the early '90s, then there was like I was taken by the larger than life characters. They weren't always the best wrestlers when you look
Yeah,
back now, but it was just something that could give you that break from reality. And yeah, like even Papa Shango's one I use a lot of the time. Like I remember the first time I see him thinking, "Holy shit, what is
yeah.
this?" You know. So yeah, it's just been in my life since childhood, like being able to watch it and A comment from my mum saying you'll always be too small, as in too short to do it, kind of spurred me on to find a way of getting into it. So
Nice,
yeah,
nice. And I'm glad that you squeezed in Papa Shango there. So underrated. He just didn't really do
yeah.
it with him. But I think where like the direction was going, like Bret Hart and the smaller guys, and just didn't really work. But that's me taking my nerd hat off now. And what inspired you to become a professional wrestler? When did you know, was it when you was a teenager or when you got older? It's like, okay, I'm a fan, but I want to take that next step and maybe make something of this.
So I'd always done martial arts as in my childhood,
Hmm.
um, and I was like, there must be a way. Someone must know a way of doing this. I don't know if you can hear that pinging, but I'm getting messages.
No, no, you're good. I can't hear it.
So that's all right then. So yeah, doing all the martial arts sort of gave me a good stand-in. But as a teenager, as a lot of us did back then, backyard scene was
Mm.
a little
Don't
bit of
try
a
this at
thing.
home. We're going to try this at home.
Yeah, yeah. So out of the bedroom window onto
Yeah.
boxes and all sorts of stupid things. Um, and then we messaged someone who was running a show in Lincoln, and said, "Hey, can we come along?" And they're like, "No, you've got to be trained." Oh, we've trained. We did it ourselves. So we went to a place in Nottingham. It wasn't House of Pain. I can't remember what it was called back then. Maybe Norton. I can't remember. And found a little bit of training, and then other habits kicked in. So sort of wrestling was put on a back burner. I was working. I was just doing other things. I had a back injury that needed seeing to.
Yeah.
So once all that was taken care of, I'd broken my back and not realised.
Fuck.
I got the okay to go back to a gym, started training, contacted Sticks and said, "Hey, am I cool to come over?" He was, "Yeah, cool, absolutely fine." But then while I was in the city, someone said, "Hey, I wrestle in Grimsby at a training school there. Maybe we could car share if you wanted to come along." The weirdest interaction ever because I've never met this guy in my life.
Yeah.
And yeah, I went. I thought, right, I've got to take it serious now. I've given like a second lease of life through pain pills and all that sort of stuff. I want to take it serious, and it's either go back to martial arts and get sort of an MMA fight and see where we can go with that,
Hmm.
or really stick to wrestling and see where it can go. If it just remains a hobby, then it remains a hobby. So yeah, it kind of one thing after another accidentally fell into place to be where we are now, kind of thing.
Nice. And let's be honest, I mean, with the MMA skills that you did acquire, they wouldn't necessarily go to waste, would they? I mean, I'm sure you could benefit from the skills that you did, receive from your training, over the years. You did probably put some of that to wrestling, discipline.
Yeah, so I had a lot of real fight experience through kickboxing, through judo, all
Yeah.
them things, karate. I worked on nightclub doors for 10 years. I
Oh,
worked
you've
in
seen some things.
a few. I worked in mental health asylums,
Yeah.
hospitals, and basically that was just like being a doorman in them environments.
Yeah.
So a lot of the physical skills that we had to have, I find or found very useful bringing into wrestling, and little details of how to maybe apply things slightly differently. So
Yeah.
people in the audience who might. So one thing I use in training a lot is if you're working an over 18 show, if you're working a family show, there might be a person there who doesn't particularly want to be there, but they've had a nightclub fight, they've been thrown out by the bouncers, so they'll understand how certain things feel. So if you can use them real things, the more hokey things might seem more realistic to them. So yeah, there's a lot of experiences that kind of helped with wrestling.
If you can get that casual fan cheering by the end of the show, you've done a great job.
Yeah, or just believing something for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Believing that them two guys maybe botched a spot. They want to see the cracks in the wall. So if they go, they fucked that up there,
Yeah.
and now they're really fighting, but actually you've planned that spot to be that way, then yeah, that's kind of winning them over for my mind anyway.
Nice, nice. I just want to go back to sort of the beginning of your wrestling career. I want to ask you about your debut. It's a common theme on the show now, especially with British wrestlers. I really like hearing about their first ever match, the first time you was in a ring with a crowd, and then it might be about royal, tag team match, six way, you name it, ladder match, whatever. But I want to hear you, Dutch, tell me your first ever match with a crowd there. Did you have any friends or family? Did you win, you lose? Tell me, just go in detail about it. I just want to hear about it, mate.
Well, I'll give you the first one from when I came back, because before that there was a lot of drugs and stuff.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's
um,
fine.
so coming back, it was at RDW GWA,
Yeah,
and I went to my first session with the guy who met me in the city, and straight away I was like, "Oh, we can see you've done a little bit of something before."
yeah,
So we got booked on the next show. Me and one of the lads who I used to work on the door with. I think Kyra actually referenced this match. I think she was there for this one. And we were booked as kind of like henchmen for one of the guys there. It was a tag team. No, was it a rumble or a tag team sort of clusterfuck? I can't remember. But we were basically just there to beat down everybody, and sort of get recognised by the fans straight away with an impact. My memory's awful. So
mm,
from that, I believe it was supposed to set up some sort of tag team rivalry, but the guy who I worked on the door with, he couldn't commit to it. He'd started playing American football. He was working full time, so it just kind of left me
sort of hanging.
going by myself. So
But at the same
yeah,
time, you did continue it, and you would go on to start your own fitness center and wrestling school and wrestling company, um, which is owned by yourself and your partner, and that's been around for 10 plus years now, 2013, which I discussed previously
yeah,
with your daughter. But you're the man who created this. So I want to know, Dutch, what encouraged you to start your own company?
nothing. It was not supposed to happen. So it actually started in 2012.
Okay.
And someone else had asked me if I would source a place for him, because I knew a lot of people. I know a lot of people. If we could find somewhere for him to run a training school from. So I spoke to my friend Sean, who runs the Fight Factory, which is a kickboxing MMA gym in Lincoln. And we were able to rent a couple of hours a week in the boxing ring from Sean,
Yeah.
which gave somewhere for people to come and learn from the guy who was running the shows here. And he said, look, if you can help me train the basics, you can have as much time in the ring as you want going forward. And like it was his ring. And to me, it was like a no-brainer. I got more time in a ring. I got to meet more people. And it was, to start with, seemed like a good idea. The city needed it. I was working shows for him. We were selling out the venue. So yeah, it just seemed like a win-win.
Mhm.
But then week by week, he didn't turn up, and until the like last 15 minutes, take the money. Sorry, I've been working. Da, da, da. And my wife went there. You're doing all this, and
Mm.
the risk is on you. So she said, we either sack it off or you take it serious and take over. So we gave him the ultimatum: look, pull your finger out, or we take it. And he was like, well, why don't you run it? And it gives the guys that you're going to train. And I was by no means ready to train people in my mind
Yeah.
at all. It gives them a foot up for his shows where he was bringing in people. So we kind of used that as a bit of a platform to say, okay, we can have a working relationship here. And the guys who are on the shows, people like Paul Mail and people like Sticks, people who have been since deleted from the wrestling scene, we'd bring them in to do seminars. So Robbie X, for example, lived just around the corner, so he was one who
Yeah.
was regularly over with us, and just using all the regular guys who he used to help me learn to be a coach and to help the guys progress from there.
Mhm.
So in 2013, the relationship went a bit south, and by 2014, we completely started a company by mistake.
Bloody hell. So, I mean, you've started this company now, like for 10 years, you said, but I want to know, Dutch, in the last 10 years or so, what would you say have been, looking back, have been your proudest achievements, not just as a talent, but, behind the curtain and seeing what you put on for the live crowd?
Uh, so one of the answers will be the people who have gone out there and chased their dream.
Yeah.
So obviously, Kaya, you spoke to her. I never wanted any of my kids to get into this. But as you can imagine, as they're growing up and they come on the tours and they get to go in the ring and meet all these people, they're going to pick things up. They're going to,
They get hurt.
So, yeah. So now 3 of the 4 are involved. So it's pretty cool to see Kaya doing her thing, managing to cope with university and wrestling. My 2 sons, they're both autistic, and we thought that they wouldn't cope with wrestling. So we were kind of like, okay, we've got a buy with them 2 not coming in. And the oldest is now wrestling for us. He's had a few outside bookings. He's worked for WAW, and straight away that was something he wanted to do. So that's a big check on his list.
Yeah. So you promote that in your social media. That's pretty awesome and brings awareness as well.
Yeah. And then my youngest son, he wants to wrestle. He trains, but at the minute he's really happy being a ref, and he's had a lot of people helping him with that.
Yeah.
And he's had several outside bookings now, and he refs all of our shows for us. So it's really cool seeing the kids sort of be part of it, but because they want to, not because we ever kind of forced it on them. Seeing the guys again from the training school who have gone on to do things that they wanted to do. People who were already trained other places came to us for maybe a change of character, and they've gone off and done great things with that. But I think the biggest thing is the show that we do every year, Body Slams to Cancer. Year on year, we raise thousands of pounds for cancer charities or families who are fighting the disease. And to me, that's the best thing we can do. I think it's nearly £40,000, maybe more. I can't remember off the top of my head. But over the years, we've raised a significant amount of money for really worthy causes, and what is a hobby for most people can do so much good. Yeah.
Get to do something you love while it be rewarding at the same time. Just can't probably create a better feeling than that.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's awesome, mate. That's awesome. When you're not doing wrestling or fitness, or you're also tattooing at the moment, apprentice. So
yeah,
I'm gonna ask about the tattooing because I'm quite intrigued. I've got a few here, and I think sometimes people see it, but I want to know about your work. If people watch your matches, they'll see you've got quite a few tattoos. What actually inspired you to become a tattoo artist?
So again, years
It's like
ago,
jogging, man. What else can you not do?
There's plenty I can't do, like cooking and cleaning. So years ago, I was being shown how to tattoo by someone very old school, and it was more carving it into the body. So I wasn't really getting very far with it. I sacked it off, and again, drugs and alcohol were playing a part in that, so I didn't really concentrate on much.
Yeah.
Last year, there's a lot of the wrestling business that I don't like. So I was moaning to Matt, who owns the studio I'm working at. He's become a really good friend over the years. I was saying, look, I need a way out of wrestling. If I decide to get rid of wrestling from my life, I need a way out.
Yeah.
But I think I also need something that's relaxing for my brain. And he was like, well, come on board. It might be able to help you out financially. And I'd said to him in the gym, because we trained together, how I used to draw a lot just to calm myself.
Nice.
And he was like, so come in and see if it helps. And mentally, it's been such a relief in a lot of ways. I've been able to just, when I'm concentrating on a tattoo, nothing else matters. I'm still not great. I still have to have a lot of help, but it's something that's really sort of brought back a bit of calmness, even though it's busy and throwing another ball in the juggling loop.
Crazy you find like tattooing calming, to be fair. Like, just you got to be so focused. But at the same time, if you're switching yourself off, you have the outline and doing it all in, because you're so focused, you actually does play lazy to switch off. Actually, never really thought about it that way. I'm just kind of used to, cause when I'm getting my tattoos done, I don't shut up, as you can tell with the podcast. Um, hence why I'm like doing this in my spare time. But what did you practice on? Like, did you do it on like pigskin when you were building up to it before you did it on human skin on a regular basis?
So pencil and paper,
Yeah.
iPad, and then a little bit of practice skin, but then volunteers, and then people who now want to sort of pay an apprentice rate and
Mhm.
get some work done. So sort of a development of paper to skin in a
Yeah.
year.
Nice. So was it the tiger you did that you uploaded?
Yesterday. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, yesterday. Yeah, that was a tiger with the dragon's head. Yeah,
Nice. And you do your own designs as well, which means probably more. A lot of tattoo artists will just be like, yeah, just copy and paste. I mean, they might do a good job, but it doesn't have that, that meaning, that like their
yeah. I
identity.
mean, this is one of our old wrestlers. He's just come and had quite a few pieces done, and it's all Japanese themed.
Yeah.
And he said I did a dragon on him about a month ago, and he was like, oh, I want the same dragon going the other way on the arm. So I said to Matt about it, and he was like, see if you want something like a tiger and change it up a little bit, and it's good for him because it's not the same thing, but
Yeah.
it's good for me to practice something else. So I sent him a design of a tiger, and then I sent him like a hybrid with the dragon's body and the tiger's head, and then the other way around. And he was like, that one. And
Nice.
if we keep the face similar to the dragon he's got, then it's kind of kept that continuity of the creature, but it's a different
Yeah.
animal. So
Sweet.
yeah.
Just keeping it wrestling themed, by the way. What are some of your favorite wrestling tattoos?
Oh god. I think the
You're
Samoans
gonna
have
say
got some
Cody,
pretty
aren't
cool
you?
work.
Ah, that's fine.
No, no, the Samoans. I love that sort of stuff. I've always wanted to go to Indonesia and have some traditional tattoos done there
Oh, what when
because
they
we're
do it like
part
that?
Indonesian. Yeah. So we originally my grandmother's Indonesian, so that'd be really cool to go and have something like that. It's just
Yeah.
finding the room to have it done now.
Oh mate, honestly, your pain threshold for that's got to be. Don't get me wrong, the outcome will be great, but it's just in the moment doing it. It's just like I don't think I can stomach it.
I think the older you get, the worse they get as well.
They do, especially outlines. I fucking hate them, but yeah, it just needs to man up really. So, I'm gonna ask you a fun question, Dutch. Doesn't have to be wrestling related, but it's up to you if you want to keep it that. Three
Okay.
dream dinner guests for your dream party. They can be dead, they can be alive. It's up to you. They can be fiction, non-fiction, whatever, mate. You're the host. You want them there. Three people and a quick reason why. Go.
Owen Hart.
Nice.
Reason why all the stories of the fun that he used to have, the ribs that he
Yeah.
used to play. I think that's kind of me. So yeah, Owen Hart, I think he'd be the life and soul of the party. On the same note, Bulldog. So straight away two wrestling related. Same reason.
Would you trust your food though with them two around? Like, I don't know if I would. I would not keep out of eyesight, but they'd find a way
I
still to
mean,
fuck with it.
it's the same with most wrestling locker rooms, though, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
there's always something. Like I saying this out a bit too publicly here. I have this thing with bananas. I can't look at them, smell them, anything with them. And since some of the boys found out, I find him in my boots. I find him in my bag. I find him in my shower bag.
Oh my
So
God.
yeah. So
Big tough guy
I think
Dutch here, like covered in tattoos, hard nuts. Get a bananas. Fucking hell.
yeah, it's a texture thing. It's a smell.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. So oh, a third one. It's got to be someone away from wrestling.
So not Papa Shop.
Marco van Basten.
Fair play, fair
I,
play. No, but
I,
explain. I mean, he's probably one of the greatest Dutch players.
yeah, just being part of the team in '88 that
Yeah,
won the Euros.
the goal as well.
Yeah, having the ability he had
Mm.
Unfortunately, a career ruined by injuries.
Yeah, he
But I
retired quite
think,
early, didn't he? Like early
yeah,
30s.
yeah, I think he'd just have some great stories about football as it was back then.
Mm.
Bit of a football fan, so yeah, I think I'd go with that.
Okay, as you just said that, how do you think Holland are going to do in the Euros?
Every time the same. I hope. I have two teams, so if I was a betting man and if I knew
Yeah.
how to place a bet, I've got two teams that every tournament I think we should be able to earn some money. But yeah, quarterfinals best.
Who's the other team then?
England.
England.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I want to be excited. I'm happy that Henderson's not there. No Rashford after the season he had. Gutted Saka's not there. Arsenal fan, but I'm kind of happy he's not
Oh,
gonna. He looked tired at the end of the season and didn't look fit. So I'm happy he kind of gets a bit of a rest. But God, he's not going to be there at the Euros.
yeah. There's a few shocks, but I mean, there's a lot of hate for Southgate, but I think he's
Hmm.
been
Best manager since
consistently.
'66 at least. Probably one of the best managers of all time for England. I think
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
bit
There's
too
been a
much.
level of consistency with the club and
Yeah,
sorry, with the team. There's not been, from what I'm aware in the press, too many arguments between players, and that seems to
no.
always be something um, for both my national teams that plague them. So, you know, it's just the lack of trophies, isn't it? That
Hmm.
that fans get bored of.
I think what he's done: semi-finals, final. And then
Mm.
quarterfinals, really unlucky against France. Harry Kane scored the penalty, but we're the better team because I think luck does come to it. But I think when you do watch England sometimes in the qualifiers and some friendlies, it's a bit of a chore. But most international football isn't great. That's a fact. And yes, I know he's a bit of a yes man, but I'd rather go back to what you said, someone not be controversial, someone that communicates to the players. He does. He speaks to them, he gets them well. You see them on social media in the videos of them in training. They're all friends compared to like the
Yeah,
golden days, the golden era, whatever, with Gerrard, Lampard, Scholes, Becks, and Terry. They're just world class players, but they'd all segregate themselves from different areas.
yeah. There were players in a squad. They weren't a team of players.
No, exactly.
And like I watched the Man City documentary recently, and you see they're a group of friends, and I think that's always going to help a team
Yeah,
when they're friends off the pitch because they're going to have that click on the pitch. So yeah, fingers crossed.
I'm not in a rush to watch that. I'm just a bit upset with Arsenal not winning the league. But all I'll say is this: I can't wait till either Pep leaves or those 115 charges start coming in play. That's what I'm going to say, right? But we did bottle it a little bit. But overall, there's improvement. Declan Rice, what an important signing. But we just slipped up a few games like Villa and Fulham. But
And
yeah.
then the Spurs kind of dicked you a little bit, didn't
Oh
they?
my God, we so missed out. I was so fuming. I need to smash my TV. I was like, what was
So
that?
that's one of the tattoos I have on my leg. That's who I followed for many years.
What's Son? No way.
That Spurs,
Oh, right.
Spurs
Oh,
as
my.
a team, yeah.
It's even worse.
So yeah, I mean
God,
now
what's going on?
I keep up with them, but I
Yeah.
follow Lincoln City now.
Uh,
So again, used to disappointment, but Lincoln have done good this year. So
can I become an apprentice and just cover that up, or can you do it yourself? You can reach, right? You can reach, mate. Like,
I can probably do it myself. Yeah,
yeah, that's fine. Just don't, if you feel like you need to do it, just to like erase those memories. Don't let that stop you. Do it.
erase
Go
that
to your friend
childhood
George
trauma.
with the podcast, mate. But now, Dutch, pleasure speaking to you, mate. Is there anything you'd like to promote? Anything you want to say? Anyone you want to challenge in the wrestling world? The opportunity is yours now because we're now at the end of this chat.
No, I mean, I'll promote the company if people want to follow us on any social media, Fight Factory Wrestling UK, fightfactorywrestling.com. I think all of our social media links are through there. And we have a YouTube channel that's got free matches up every week. So if you want to go and watch that. And as for challenging anybody, I think I probably still need a match with Kaya.
Oh,
I've had
okay.
a lot of training with her, and we've tagged and we had a little tag team match before, but I don't think we've ever had a proper match. So
That's one match you can literally mark it. I don't think a lot of companies can say that. Legit, father versus daughter, one on
yeah,
one. Why
yeah,
not?
I've wrestled the boys. I've wrestled one of them on a couple of shows last year on the camps. So yeah.
How was that, by the way? Just sorry, I know just add an extra question, but like, just I want to quickly hear about that, like wrestling, like your own family.
Um, don't treat it any different. If
Yeah.
it's an easy story to tell, like I had a really good rivalry with my brother that
Mhm.
as we were a tag team for a couple of years, for 3 years, I think. And then we had this rivalry that kind of we can always keep going back to.
Mhm.
And we've been doing that since before COVID. So when Thomas came through, it was quite an easy little thing to go to, especially on the camps. It's a good way of him learning.
Yeah.
So more than anything, I saw it as on the camp shows as a coaching role to help him. But his style's very different to mine. He's a flip flop and fly guy like my brother. So
Yeah. But I feel like the
yeah,
opposites, like you do
it's
get some
pretty
of the
cool.
matches, but yeah, that's cool that you actually had a good time doing it and didn't feel kind of nervous. Kind of, I can actually bet you probably felt more motivated to do it. Just like, actually, I'm going to show him a few tricks or two, like to show him why I'm doing this now still, why I'm the fucking coach, and why I
Got to
am.
keep up with the young ones.
That's it, man. They've still got a lot to learn, mate. I won't before my age, but Dutch, pleasure having you on, mate. I will put your social
Thank you
media
for having
handles
me.
in the description below. I'll send people your way, and while they're following you on social media, if you can all follow me also, that'd be much appreciated. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow Dutch, follow me. Enjoy the rest of your week. Take care.
What you got?